Welcome to this week's Oil Drip broadcast. My name is Julie Johnston, and I am going to be joined here very shortly with my co-host, Linda Pickenpaul. We have some great tips for you today if you, like many others, are trying to rework your budget and make everything work with inflation. Is coming now. Stay tuned. I think it's connecting to her as well. There she is.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
So I was just introducing today's topic and saying that with inflation, many of us are going back to our budgets and seeing, where we can cut costs and still enjoy life like we should be able to. And I know that you and I are very good with extending the life of our oils, cutting costs where we can, and really just like when we use oils, we're kind of in a saver mindset of always, how can I get the bang for the buck? So I wrote down a whole bunch of things that I do that I think people will find useful. And a lot of times when we do our videos, I like get online and get some tips too from other people. I didn't have to today.
Oh.
Did you have to?
I did.
You did.
I did.
Okay.
I did.
Well, I think this might be one of my favorite topics, so maybe that's why I didn't have to.
Well, maybe because I've got a lot of my tips from you. So.
Yeah, I trained you well, right?
Right. Right. My one tip right from the beginning was when you've got an empty bottle that don't throw those lids away, because you have those empty bottles with stickers on top, and so if you've got a sticker on top, you don't have to get another sticker. Just switch lids and put the lid on the new bottle that has a sticker on it, and
yeah,
that's just, you're not always buying labels.
No, and the labels aren't super expensive, but 50 cents.
Yeah, and it's not always something you buy or put in your cart.
Right.
I know, and I don't know that a lot of my customers sometimes have known that they're there, because if it's somebody that has bought a kit and it comes to me first, I usually put labels on them for them.
Oh, yeah.
So just as a little nice thing to do.
Yeah.
And so they already have labels on them, and I've had them say, well, where do you get the labels and that kind of thing. So, but use these first and then.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, that's probably our number one thing that we share in the beginning of using oils. I think before I forget to say this, because I think this is the most important one behind all of why we share oils, is that we're trying to teach people to be proactive with their health care. Not wait until you're sick and then pull out your oils and figure out what to use. But finding products that doTERRA has in its line that are meant for daily use to be proactive and to keep your body where it's healthy. So if you were somebody who was looking at their costs of their oils and their products, and you want to make sure that you're not going to get any additional healthcare expenses, I think the number one thing is to make sure you are taking your lifelong vitality. I think that's number one. So that just helps you stay healthier, fight off some of, everyday colds and things that are going around, and keeps you from having those doctor visits where you have to go in just because you have a common everyday cold or flu or whatever might be going around. So that's my number one.
That's a good one. That's my number one daily.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So we put up a post in oil drip, and it was a tip on using an orifice remover, so that, like you said, we recycle the labels on the tops of our bottles. But when you run out of an oil, you can remove that orifice, that little plastic piece here, with a tool like this, and be able to either reuse that bottle for something else, or get the last tiny drops that are in the bottom of that bottle so that you use everything that's in the bottle. So that was our tip that we already shared with you. But what's something you had on your list?
Well, one of the things that I was thinking about with those bottles is I had just never, what can I do with them? Well, usually they get recycled because I have so many. It's like, oh, what do I do with all of these?
Yeah.
So just recycle them. But I started thinking about it and really looking into it, and you could use that and take those the orifice off and the lid off in the bottle. And usually what happens is I throw the orifice away. But I am or recycle. But in looking at it, you can wash those bottles. If you put them in some vinegar and hot water, and so that's one way to do it. If you want to save the bottles and soak them, and then you get a clean orifice, a clean lid, and you actually get a clean bottle that can easily then that outside peels off. And so then once you have those, I thought, you know what? I have a couple of little boxes like to store small pieces, and that would be a great thing to put in all the orifices here and all of the lids here, and then I can put the bottles in a bigger area. But I was thinking, sometimes those blends we put together all the time, well, why not make a bottle full of blends so that I think your favorite one maybe is peppermint, wild orange, and frankincense.
Yeah.
And what if you actually had it already made up and put together, and it's like, oh, well, then I would need an orifice if I had that.
Yeah, true.
So you can actually make up, your own blends and save them, and then you can make your own label that way. So I was thinking, oh, I've been throwing away some of these things that I really do need to save because, they're very helpful. But the other thing you said is getting that very last drop out. Oh, goodness. I am that way. I've got it. My husband will say, oh, we're almost out of rosemary, or oh, we're almost out of this one. Well, I know there's a few more drops in there, so I'm taking the orifice off, and getting it out. But some other things that I just never thought about is that you could do. You could use those last few drops to make bath salts, actually. And one way to do it would be just to put a few drops of, maybe like a fourth teaspoon, half teaspoon of Epsom salts down into that bottle that just has a few drops left. And, then put the lid on it and let it set so that it soaks up the Epsom salts, and then put it in your bath water, and you actually use up that very last drop, because I can't stand having any left over.
Right.
And another way I saw that you could make bath salts was just to take a bowl or a container that you put some Epsom salts and Himalayan salts too, if you want, and then actually take the orifice and bury it down into those salts, and the lid and bury it down into the salts, and the bottle and bury it down into the salts, and cover it for a day or so, and you're actually getting all of that oil out of there, and then there again, you've got bath salts.
Yeah.
And you've used up every last drop, because none of us wants to waste one last drop.
Yeah, that's a good one. Well, I'll share one. So you might have an oil that you use topically a lot and really love it, but if you're trying to look at reducing cost, then I would suggest, if this is an oil that you're not going to diffuse but you want to use topically, like maybe you love copaiba, but you're like, gosh, I don't want to spend the full price on the copaiba, which is, the bottle is $37. You're like, gosh, that's kind of a lot this month. I don't want to spend that. So instead, you get the touch. You can still put it on. It's going to go further, and the touch is only $24. And if you've not used a touch, it's just got some fractionated coconut oil in the bottle, which makes it, when you roll it on, because it's a roller bottle, it'll actually stay on your skin's surface a little bit longer than the regular oil that penetrates and isn't into your body quickly. This one actually will stay topically. So if you were using, copaiba maybe for like some sort of joint pain or something like that, you'd want it to be on topically longer anyhow. So so that's a tip. So if you're looking to buy an oil and you're concerned about that price for the month, maybe that's taking you above the budget you have for oils, see if there's a touch version of it, and that'll save you a little bit of money.
Definitely.
Now, I know this is something that you kind of watch for some of your customers too, when they place a loyalty reward order. Now that they've changed it to where we can get the free shipping, if they're super close, you're putting in your loyalty order and it's like 80 points or 85 points, and you're like, well, that's all I needed to get this month. When you go to check out, you're going to be charged $6.99 for shipping. So I would just add on one more product to get 0 shipping. So, if you're that close, look at something that maybe you would use all the time, like maybe a toothpaste. I think that's like 8 points, $8. A bar soap, that's 5 points. Just, if you're that close, don't pay for shipping. Find one of our products that maybe you haven't used yet and add that to your cart to just get you to that point where you get it for free. So that's another one that I am very cautious of, making sure I either get free or as close to it as possible.
Right.
Now, what would you say to somebody who knows they're getting points when they place their loyalty reward order of 50 PV or more? They're getting their points each month, but they're not really sure when to cash those points in. When's the best time to do it? What would you say if you're thinking of, saving money and using those?
Well, I would suggest that if they get to around 200 points, that is really good. But I would say those big items like frankincense that I want to get, or heliochrysum that I want to get, you can't get the LLV with points. You need to know that, because I think a lot of my customers have tried, they can't get LLV. But there are other, frankincense is almost as much as the LLV. So, think of the big things that you've wanted. And to me, a couple of or even Melissa is another one.
Mm-hmm.
You think of some of my big items. So when I get, I don't know, like right now, when I've got 200 points and it's only going to cost me $3 to get $200 worth of merchandise, that's sort of when I start looking at, okay, what are my big need items that I want to really, I'm not really going to I mean, I might need lemon, but it's usually only about 10 or 11, and it's like, okay, I want my big point items, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So I guess that's what I would say, the big point items, and I don't want to just say, oh, I'll get a free lemon. Well, it only costs what, $11, and then I pay $3 for it. So it's like,
Yeah.
let's. I would save it for some of the big PB items,
Right.
and I would wait, you know. But I don't want to wait forever, you know,
Right.
to get those things. So.
Yeah, and we had to, I think, wait for a little while when the cleaning products came out that our points didn't count for those, but they do now.
Right.
So that could be another one if you wanted to let your points add up until you had enough to get all of the products in the new cleaning line. And that's what I did this month. I'm like, oh, I can get my cleaning stuff now. So my dishwasher pods and my laundry pods and the hand soap. And so to me, that felt good. For $3, I'm getting all of my cleaning supplies for a couple months. Yes.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, it really is when you spend $3 and you get $250 worth of product. It's like, okay, this makes it really worthwhile.
Right. And that $3, sometimes I have people question, why do I have to even spend $3 to cash in my points? And that $3, they'll say that it's sort of like a processing fee, like there are people whose hands do touch the product that they're shipping out, but it's also a way doTERRA is gifting you all of that product of, like, you know, a $200 value, and you don't want to be taxed on it. So instead of it being a gift, you're spending $3 to get it. So there's no tax implications on that as a gift. So it's nominal. $3 is a nominal fee. Okay. Oh, I know another one. You know that Immortelle, when you get the Immortelle for your, you know, your skin, and the Immortelle is an expensive oil again, but it's in the roller bottle form, but it is not at all diluted with any fractionated coconut oil. And so for some people, it's too potent to go right on their skin, their face. So they have to dilute it anyhow. So what I like to do is when I get the fractionated coconut oil is to have an empty roller bottle that I can pour half of the Immortelle into and fill up the rest with the fractionated coconut oil. And then that extends the life of that product, saves me a little bit more money. And now I've got 2 bottles because I can fill up the first one with coconut oil too. So now for the price of one, I'm getting 2 bottles. Oh, I know. Do you love how the skincare products come in these airtight containers? So that, like, see this one? I'm almost to the end, but it's still coming out. But the way that it's made is that it gets every single bit of the product out for us. I can't remember exactly what this is called, but it's something like it's air sealed, and as you pump it, it just sucks everything out. So you're getting every single thing that's in here. So this is how it starts, and it's nice and fluffy like that, and then it ends like this. So you know it's working. I love that. So doTERRA has done that for us. We don't have to do anything.
Well, even I use the Barrage that's in the green bottles, and even that, it is made so that it just, whatever that is that lives, that pushes right up, it uses every last drop. When nothing comes out, there's nothing left.
Yeah.
I mean, and you can see that, no drops. So whatever they have done, it's great. Now, if they could just make the toothpaste that way,
right,
we'd be all right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. So that was my next thing I was going to talk about is the toothpaste, and here's my toothpaste. It's getting very low, and we've shared this tip before too. But we actually we'll cut it right in half when it gets low, and that way we can use our toothbrush and scoop out the little bit that's still in there. But here's another tip. When you use this toothpaste, it gets messy on the top. Does yours get messy like that? So
Yeah,
do
it
you
does.
do you remember the hack we used we shared before that the toothpaste was really good for the health of your fingernails and toenails?
Oh, yes.
So you could just
Yeah.
use this yucky residue. Like I'm always trying to like clean it off because it looks gross, but you can just clean it off, and maybe it's like right before you hop in the shower or something, and you can just kind of rub it into your fingernails and your toenails, and it kind of gives them like that buffing appearance. You know, makes them a little healthier and shinier looking, and so that's another frugal tip right there is to use that little bit that's on top.
Yeah. Good idea. Good
Yeah.
idea.
So those were all the ones that I came up with. Was there anything else that you thought of?
Um, well, any of the bottles, you can actually purchase little pumps, and sometimes that's helpful in a bottle of myrrh.
Mm.
But you can actually little pumps that will spritz. You can, or even roller bottles. So even those 5 milliliter bottles, you can add that to it,
Oh yeah.
and so you can reuse your bottles in that way. But because like sometimes when I've had a new customer, I will take my old On Guard bottle, and if there's anything still in it or not, I'll add a few drops plus a few drops of, it could be some witch hazel, or it could, or lots of times it's just distilled water.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've added that little pump spritzer. So it's like I'm saying, you know, and I did this especially before we had the On Guard hand spray, and I would give it to new customers, another way of just saving my bottles and
Mm-hmm.
saving that, and give it to them and say, hey, carry this in your purse so that you have your own hand sanitizer. So that's one I have used.
Yeah.
And the other one I was thinking of was is, you know, I use tea tree still a lot in cleaning, especially my toilets, and there's just a lot of things that it's used for. But when that bottle gets down to the end, you can actually stuff a cotton ball or two, so you can actually, you know, get the rest of those drops. And then what happens is then take tweezers, and after you've had them in there a day, so they're really soaking it up, then take tweezers and put them in those stinky shoes.
Oh.
You know, and so, you know, just as a, so you're still using those drops, and you're using them in different ways. But if you don't have tea tree, there are other antioxidant, anti-fungus
Yeah,
things
like
you could
the
use.
Purify or something like that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Purify. I mean, there's just a lot. Oregano. I even read where you could use cinnamon. I thought cinnamon,
Oh.
but yeah, I mean, it's a possibility. So, and probably the very last one I saw, because it's spring, is I don't always use those bottles to decorate with, but you can take those little bottles, and if you can just, you know, if you've washed them and you have the label off of them, that's nice. And what you can do then is just put, you know, especially now, those great hyacinths, those little flowers, and you just have a little color to set in
Yeah.
the window.
I'm gonna grab something.
Or in places. Okay. I mean, you can make them as fancy as you want. Yes, definitely. You've wrapped that all around. I like it. I mean,
These
or
were
you can just wrap
a wedding favor at Laura's sister's wedding. She had so many bottles, and she made these, and so they were at everybody's seat at the reception.
There you go. All
Yeah.
kinds of ideas.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I have one more decoration, and it might be kind of silly.
Okay.
I don't think everybody would do this, but this is how I store my empty bottles.
Oh.
It's my doTERRA shelf, so it makes sense. But if you don't have a doTERRA shelf in your house, it might not make sense.
Yeah. But But there are things. I know you can look up and find all kinds of crafty ideas if you want.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've seen people use the bottles over Christmas lights too. Like they'll poke them, the strand, poke the light, so it's like a strand of glowing essential oil bottles.
Yep. Yep. So lots of fun.
Yes. All right. Well, if anybody else would have any tips on how they save money with the products they buy from doTERRA, we'd love for you to share those too. So anything new would be welcome.
Definitely.
All right. Well, is that all you've got to share today?
I think that's all I have.
Okay. All right. Well, I think we gave
a lot
them
out
lots.
there, but I think so.
All right. Well, thank you everyone who's joined us today. We'll be back again next Friday with our oil drip broadcast.
We will. See you.